You will need a half-size piece of paper. Okay, so anything that's half-size like this. You will need a printout of this fish. I should have given it to you in class. If you are at home, I'll make sure to have a copy of it on Canvas. A pencil, an eraser. So if you don't have an eraser on your pencil, use an eraser separate, and a ruler and a tissue. Okay, a ruler and a tissue. If you are at home, you will need to print out this fish. Okay. All right. You will also need a glue stick eventually to glue this, or tape to tape this or glue this to this piece of paper. So this is how to grid an image so that you can transfer it, or, you know, if you wanted to, you can enlarge it. But for this one, we're just doing a transfer, okay, a direct transfer. So what you're going to do is you're first going to look at the size of the image. So right now, this is the size of the image, right? The actual picture. We're not worried about the outside, right? We're just worried about the picture itself. And we're going to measure it. I know, I'm bringing out the rulers. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure this. And this is about almost exactly 3 inches. In fact, it's close enough to 3 inches that we're just going to say it's 3 inches. So I'm going to make sure this line right here at the very edge, so this line, not the edge of the ruler, but the line itself, is lined up with the edge of my fish. Okay, and I've decided to start from this side. If I start from this side, it's a little bit different, right? Because there is a tiny bit of space right here. So every time I measure, I want to make sure I'm measuring from the same side every single time. So I'm starting here, and then I am going to create a line every ½ inch on this paper, on this paper. So the ½ inch mark is halfway through that beginning line and the 1 inch mark. So that is this line here on this ruler. Okay, so it's halfway through the 1 inch, right? It's a ½ inch. So we're creating a ½ inch size grid. On your project, on your actual project, you can choose between ½ inch or 1 inch grids. Okay, on the fish, I'd like you to do a ½ inch because it's really small. But for your project, you can do ½ inch or 1 inch. So I did a ½ inch, and then I did it at the 1, and then I did it again at the ½ inch, and then at the 2, and then again at the ½ inch, and then I don't need to do the 3 because it's at the end. Right? And again, it's super tiny over here. I'm not worried about it. It's not enough to really make a difference. All right, then I'm going to do the same thing up here. Again, I'm measuring from this side. I'm not putting 3 inches here because that's not going to be right. Right? I want to make sure I'm measuring from this side because this is the side that I've started on for both sides. Okay. At this point, what I want to do is I want to create a line that is that goes between these two lines. So I'm going to use my ruler, and I know it's really hard to see on my camera, but basically I'm going to be lining up this line that I created all the way down to here, right? So I'm lining up my ruler, and hopefully you can see your lines because they should be shiny. As long as you used a regular pencil, they should be shiny. So I'm just going to line those up. Okay. Okay. So I did these lines. So those are my lines, right? They're exactly ½ inch apart. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but going this way. All right. Now I have to measure again. I have to go, okay, how many inches is this? And this is 2½ inches. This is exactly 2½ inches, which is perfect. So I am going to measure a ½ inch here, ½ inch, same thing. And then again, I'm going to do the same thing and measure from this side. This is super important. Not for this picture because this picture is working out pretty well, but for your celebrity pictures that I'm going to be printing out for you, They're going to be all very different from each other, so you're going to need to do some of your own measuring. One of the reasons why this is so hard for me to see is because the shadow is on one side. Okay. All right, so there is my 1/2 inch grid. That's all the way across, right, on both sides. So going this way and going this way. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label this grid based off of just a normal grid system so that I can easily find the squares that I need. Again, it's super easy to find them on the fish, but when you are doing your own, you need to be able to do this so that it makes the most sense. So I'm going to do A, B, C, D, E, going up and down, right, vertically. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, going horizontally. It really doesn't matter which way you do that. So if you decided to do numbers this way and letters this way, it doesn't matter as long as you use letters and numbers, because it helps you figure out where things actually are. Because if you use numbers and numbers, and you decide to go 1, 2, you're like, wait, is it this 1, 2, or is it that 1, 2, right? So you want to make sure that you're using just 2 separate systems, and you can use whatever you want. You can use Klingon for all I care. But it's super easy to do letters and then numbers, okay? Or vice versa. Letters, numbers. Once you're done with this, you're going to have to recreate this same grid on this paper, okay? So again, I had 3 inches by 2.5 inches, right? So this is 2.5 inches by 3 inches. So I'm going to do the same thing. You can, if you'd like to, you can use the edge of your paper as a guide, or you can start an inch in. That's what I'm going to do, so I can show you guys how to do it. But basically, all I'm going to do is I'm going to start in an inch, make a line at 1 inch. That's really light. And just use that as the edge of my paper. That makes sense, right? So if I were to like start at the edge of a paper, I'm just creating my own starting point. I also want to do the same thing over here. 1 inch and 1 inch, because I need a starting point on this side too. And I'm drawing that lightly because I don't know where it's going to end, right? So that's why you can't really see it very well. I have no idea where it's going to end, so that's why I'm drawing it lightly. So I'm going to start again. This is my starting point, this line. I'm going to do 3 inches this way. I'm going to do 2 of these lines, just like I did over here, right? And I start at the same side, which makes sense because it's the only side I have. And then I'm going to draw a line between these 2. And then I'm going to do the same thing this way, but doing 2.5 inches, because that was 2.5 inches this way on this fish. Like so. All right, so now I have a box that is the same size as this fish, or the fish picture. Okay, and now I've got to go back in and add my grid lines. So I'm going to do that really quick here. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing on this way. just like that. All right, so there's my grid. And then I'm going to have my fish up here, right? And I'll attach it to here. I'm going to do the same lettering and numbering as I did on this to this. So that I can easily find the correct boxes. So now, once you have all of that done, you're going to start drawing in what you need to do for your fish. Okay, so this, the mouth of the fish starts at D1, right? It's about, this line is about halfway through this line right here, and then it curves down, and this line ends up going about halfway between this here. So if I turn this sideways, this is about halfway through here, and this is about halfway through here. So I'm going to look at that D square and start at those 2 points. Right, so I drew that in like that. So this part goes like right up to the corner here. So I'm going to come through here. Then it starts to fin out. I'm basically doing shape identification right now, right? So I'm identifying where the lines need to be for the shapes, but I'm using the grid to be more precise about it, right? So this shape is right here, and I'm going to draw that out. Don't fill it in yet, okay? You're going to do something else with it. Because the next step of what you're going to do is you're going to use your 4 value types, right? The 4 value types that we learned, smudging, cross-hatching, stippling, and scumbling, okay, to create this. And what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that they don't touch, either vertically or horizontally, okay? They can diagonally. So if you remember that tip that I gave you during stippling, choose the areas that are the lightest and use those as your stippling areas, because you only need a few, okay? So I'm going to choose this box for stippling for sure, and then I'm going to choose this box for stippling and probably this box for stippling, okay? So I'm going to go in and I'm going to stipple those. So on this box, for the eye, I have to go really dark. And then on the edge of the whatever this is, the band, right? I'm also going to stipple that really dark. Making tails. Remember, don't make tails. I didn't teach you guys that during the stippling lesson, but I taught you that in 7th grade. These should be solid dots, like so. This is white, right? This value is white. This is gray. So we're gonna do some, but not too many here, and then some in here. So that is a stippled area. We're gonna stipple this area. It's just dark on the edge here. You can use your pencils, by the way. Here's my plethora of pencils that I have. Some of them are the same, but this is like the amount I have. And here's my brush, right? Even though I'm not wearing a mask right now, but it's really good. These are really good actually to help protect your paper, right? So you're not like, again, getting oils on them. Another thing that I do recommend to my students is taking a piece of paper and using it as a protector of your hand while you're drawing, because then you're not smudging this. So I've already started getting like pencil markings on this as I started drawing. So this really helps protect your paper from getting smudged. Now for the fish, I don't really care, but it's really great for your actual celebrity project. So I'm gonna go in, I'm still gonna model this though. There we go, that's much better. And much easier when you're using your variety of pencils. So this is my 6B, and I'm using that to do my darker spots. So the entire square needs to be done in stippling. This area is, again, really white, so I don't need to worry about it. I'm not gonna use that for my gray. I'm gonna use a 2B for my gray. I think I could go a little bit darker. Maybe I wanna add some 4B to it. Okay, like so. That's nice. I'm gonna do the same thing with this area because this is supposed to be a little bit darker, just a touch. So again, stippling's the hardest. That is the part that's going to take you the longest. I'm going to kind of show you what you can do for the rest of these. So if I did stippling here, then I have lots of choices for all of these. So I'm going to do some scumbling on this one. It's really light in the background here. It's pretty close to the value of this, and then it's dark in the corner. So I'm going to come in here. Okay, so that's the scumbling on this one and then stippling on this one. So right as it switches between lines, right, I want to make sure that this stays scumbling on this side and that's stippling, even though this is the same shape. Okay. All right. Then from there, I can do smudging here. So I told you you could use a tissue, but if you have the ability to get these are really awesome for smudging as well. I forget what they're called, but they're basically just smudging sticks. And you can get them from the store for pretty cheap. I can't remember how much they are, but I know they're not super expensive. So these are really nice as well. And they come in packs like where there's like varieties of sizes. But again, your tissue works. It's just you have to like, you know, create your own like stick basically if you want to get like a smaller area, right? I'm going to use this because most people are going to be using that. This area I'm going to smudge. So I'm just going to go in and shade. I feel like this is a little too dark, so I'm just going to go in and then go back in with my 6B because this isn't dark enough. So smudging, again, the most difficult part about it is that you have to go back and forth with your values to keep adding to it. This one I'm going to do some cross hatching. Okay, so I have all 4 methods right here. So here I can't do stippling or cross hatching. So I have to choose scumbling or smudging, right? Here, if I did scumbling, I would not be able to do scumbling or stippling, right? I would have to choose something like cross hatching. So I'm going to go through and just make sure that they don't touch, okay, throughout the whole thing. And then I would like you to finish this. Once you are done with your fish, then you can bring it to me and I will give you your celebrity. You need to request your celebrity on the Google form on Canvas, okay, on the homepage. It's probably listed on Monday. To turn in your fish, however, you will need to take a photo of it and submit it on Canvas, okay? You're showing it to me to get your photo, but you need to submit it on Canvas in order to get credit for it.